So Ben, that's super about the portfolio collective. It seems like maybe for you, COVID was almost a lucky sort of issue. For many people, it wasn't, but timing is everything. So I'm curious. So however many years later after COVID, although it's still not gone, we're seeing changes in the workplace, and some companies are demanding people come back to work full time. Other people, it's really there's been a change for good. They're not going back to work. Have you seen any changes in your organization? What people are feeding back? How they're responding to the current world?
So I'll start with the portfolio collective itself as a team, but then obviously we've got lots of clients because one of the ways that we're a business is that companies come to us looking for talent. So I've got a good perspective of what lots of companies do. If I start with us, we were founded remotely because it was lockdown. There was no point having an office if you couldn't go.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that my co-founder lives about a mile down the road from me. So and what we've generally tried to do is we try to hire a team where we can within about 2 hours of London, so that we can get together for a couple of days a month, something like that. We've managed it with everything except engineering. Our engineers are all over the place. Engineers, A, don't want to go to the office, and B, they're too expensive in London, quite frankly. So, engineering we've done out of Poland, Spain, Sweden, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that works. I think when you're set up on lockdown, you work it out. I think a lot of people who were set up in the old world of, everyone's in the office never fully immersed themselves in remote working because they were hoping one day they'd be back in the office. We never had expectations. The office said, don't know what it is, can't afford an office anyway. So because we're a startup, so we will just sort of make it work, this way from day one. So from our angle, we're never going to have an office. If we do, it'll be more like a kind of Soho house whereby most of our members also work from home. Wouldn't it be nice to have a meeting place in central London, New York, Berlin, etc.?
Yeah.
So it would be more like
because everyone has an office. Everyone has an office, don't they? It's just, you've got offices all over the place, but you don't have one central.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, on the sort of what do we see with our clients? So a lot of our clients existed before lockdown, and what are they doing now? Now, the majority, over half our clients are scale ups. So seed, Series A, Series B growth companies. The rest are a mixed bag of government, big public companies, private equity, etc. But if I look at those sort of scale ups, most of them do have an office. Most of them would hope people are in between 1 and 3 days a week. No one's insisting on 5 because they know they'll have a mutiny. And even on 5, I mean, I think, to be honest, no one's really worked out hybrid yet. So still, like, I'm not sure. The only ones that have worked it out, I think, are the ones that are 100% remote, because then it's kind of easy. But when you start,
so wait. So let me interrupt for a second. So wait, if there's scale ups though, I mean, on one hand, we talk to entrepreneurs and they say, I'm running a scale up company. I work, 250% of my time all the time. So how do these people live fractional lives, fractional careers?
So effectively, we don't place the founder in a scale up. They do work 200 hours a week. They can't do 200, there's 168 in the week, but they work a lot. What we do is help them with fractional talent. So let's take Seed as a great example. Most Seed founders, they raise a couple of million and say, I need to professionalize finance, but they can't afford a whole CFO. So what do? They hire a fractional CFO. A lot of them want a chief of staff. They can't afford a whole one. They hire a fractional one. A lot of companies that maybe it's Seed or Series A say, I need to expand internationally. Well, let's say you're a European company wanting to launch in the US or vice versa. It's pretty dumb to say, I need to launch in the US. I'm going to hire a GM or an MD for the US as step one. Because what if you hire them with profile A and then you realize the strategy requires profile B? So the best thing to do is hire some fractional, experts, former CROs or international expansion people, write the strategy, test the strategy, and then hire someone once it's working. We fill in the gap. So we'll find the experts who can build a sales force internationally, do marketing, sales, whatever internationally. So we'll put together a project team of 3 to 5 people to write the strategy, test the strategy, get a few leads, get a few customers, and then say, right, this is now working. How about hiring a CRO or a GM or whatever it might be? So there's all sorts, and all companies should do this, but a lot of big companies haven't got the memo yet. But basically, startups, scale-ups, even private equity-backed companies, the ones that are kind of watching every dollar, have realized that you don't need full-time employees to do most stuff. I mean, if you really think about when do you need a full-time employee? When there's a job that's 50 weeks a year, 40 hours a week, is unlikely to be outsourced, unlikely to be automated, and won't change too much. How many
Mm-hmm.
jobs fit that description?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not many.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
believe the organization of the future is much smaller core headcount with a lot more fractional people plugging in to get stuff done, for a part of a week or for a few weeks or whatever it might be, but in a sort of basically a not 100% full-time employee way.
And this is international. So somebody with a company in the UK can hire a fractional person, a couple of arms and legs in the US and another bit here over in Turkey
For sure. So
yeah,
we've got
okay,
people in every
interesting.
country in the world because we founded on lockdown. Borders didn't exist, and
Right.
arguably they don't exist anymore. It does kind of amuse me in some ways when companies or countries try to keep people out by controlling visas. Most of our members have clients in a different country and they just work abroad, but from home. So it's kind
What
of,
about regulations? What about employment regulations? Do you bump
they
into
don't
that at
really
all, or
affect
is
this
that
part of the market. Most of our members form a company, and then when they sell their services, they're
mm,
selling consulting services as a business. So
okay?
I think at the
Okay.
more junior levels of the market, when you get, like, say, companies just saying, I don't know, I don't want employees because I want to avoid unions or I want to avoid
Mm-hmm.
sick pay, that's a whole different conversation. But most of our members are pretty senior. They generally form companies because that way they can form teams and things more easily. And they don't have just one client, they'll have multiple clients. So it's basically totally by choice, forming companies of one to do whatever work makes them happy.
And Ben, as you know, I've now become a member.
I
I've
know, yeah.
recently joined and went through a very good experience actually setting my profile up in a way that I think hopefully presents me, let's say, in the right way. Could you just share with our listeners, though, the other aspects beyond kind of a job board, as it were? What are the other aspects that you support
Absolutely.
fractionally?
So obviously, first and foremost, we're a community, and therefore that means we're not a jobs board. So what does it take to build a community? And we've been kind of learning as we go and reading some books and talking to some experts because I might have had like a really great career, but I've never built a community before. So what do you do? So the first thing we said is why be a community rather than jobs board? We want to help people. We can't promise people jobs. We can promise people help.